maybe you'll
Do I
sing.
have to sing? I don't know if I want to sing.
You want to sing
You tricked me
Tool?
into singing yesterday.
I know.
Tool? No, I can't do Maynard James Keenan. He's the lead singer. Nobody could do.
Because,
Nobody can do Maynard James Keenan. I know we're live now. I know you're psyching me
yeah,
out.
yeah,
You're
no,
trying
we're
to get
live.
me to, yeah.
We're
I
live.
already know. I can see it.
Oh,
I can see it. Yesterday, you fucked with me, and you're like, "We're not live yet. You should sing more." And I'm like, da, 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 da. And I'm like, "Oh, here we're live, aren't we?" Yeah. And
I like
now you're
hearing
trying
you
to get me
sing.
to
I
sing
confess
Tool
that.
again.
You know,
I'm a big house singer, right? Like I love walking around the house and singing stupid songs, and I'm that guy that changes all the lyrics to something absolutely spectacularly naughty.
do you know
So,
the real lyrics, or you're just making them up?
to what song?
To any
Which
song,
one?
do you know the lyrics of songs?
Lots.
I'm terrible at
Tool,
figuring out.
sober, the pot.
I
No, I'm
was
a
think
lyrics guy.
I think I hear the wrong lyrics. I assume it's something else, and then I'm singing it out loudly, and people are looking at me like, "Oh no, that's not right. What it actually is this." You know? Do you do karaoke?
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't do karaoke. No, I am not bored enough, nor am I Korean enough to go to karaoke.
Yeah, it's an Asian thing a little bit, but not really.
Oh, huge. No, listen, and it's not a pejorative statement. I'm not talking down to, nor am I stereotyping anybody from the Asian community. I just know in Korea, karaoke bars are the biggest thing in the world, and people go out and they give it like they really mean it. And every time I've seen anybody do karaoke, I get embarrassed for them
That's
to
the
the point
point.
where I can't even sit in the same room. I'm like, oh my god, don't you have
I
any
cleared a
fucking
bar
shame?
once. I cleared the entire bar. My singing was so awful, and it was so terrible that I
Were
thought
you
it was.
drunk?
I was a little tipsy. It was in Hawaii. It was late at night. I decided to do "Don't Stop Believing" or something like that, which is a hard song to sing.
Don't stop.
And I crucified it so much the entire bar left.
Yeah.
So I was singing to an empty
You know,
house at the end.
you
That's
know,
embarrassing. I know.
Yeah, it is embarrassing, and that's why listen, folks, I'll give you just ahead of the five stack some words to live by, some truths to live by. If someone you know isn't good at something, don't encourage them to do it. Encourage them to quit before they start. Quitting sometimes is the best thing you can do. I'm a huge fan of quitting.
Yeah.
I'm massive. So like when I know this is not for me and I know I'm going to fail, I won't do it. Now, does that jive with my Stoic principles? Not really. They say you should be prepared to look stupid when you try something new. But I'm kind of one of those hybrid Stoic philosophers who's like, okay, yes, if you want to try to like learn how to fly an airplane, but the answer is no if you're going to pretend to be a singer in front of a group of drunk people on a Friday night. Don't do it. Or if you're going to try out for Canadian Idol or American Idol and your parents are like, honey, you're a great singer. You should go on American Idol. Just because you believe in your kid. The worst thing you could do. William Hung is that example. And I want to encourage everybody to quit before you get ahead.
William Hung, there's a name from the past.
Right? 15 years ago.
Yeah, wow. Should we do the top 5 stories of the news, or do you want to talk a little bit first about what you just exposed about Pete Hoekstra, the Canadian ambassador to American ambassador to Canada?
Well, it's all jammed together, isn't it? And first of all, let me say this. I'm working on a piece that basically says this. Anybody who supports Donald Trump, the GOP, anybody who has anything to do with Donald Trump, MAGA, Maple MAGA, is pedophile positive. You support pedophilia, you're okay with pedophilia, and you are fucking persona non grata to me. And that goes with the pedophile adjacent operative U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra, who over the past few days, I came into some information. Now, if you understand anything about Pete Hoekstra, he's a MAGA operative. He effectively got kicked out of the Netherlands for trying to organize the far-right groups in the Netherlands to challenge the Dutch government. And they're like, hey, that's fucking not allowed, dude. Get out of the Netherlands. And he's like, okay. And then Trump loses, and then he comes home, and then all of a sudden Trump installs him in Canada, and he is nothing more than a drunk, liver-spotted fucking treasonous prick who runs operations for MAGA. So over the past 10 months, Pete Hoekstra, who is, by the way, under consideration for expulsion at this point in time by Canadian officials, that is a fact.
I mean, he should be. He should be.
Well,
It's ridiculous that he's still holding his position and advocating a breakup of the country.
Dude, when he's not advocating for the breakup of Canada, of which he is the serving ambassador to this country, he's running around telling Canadians we suck. And he hates it here. And he's disappointed that he actually took the job of becoming the ambassador to Canada. threatening Canada more recently with F-35 flybys by the American F-35s and the U.S. Military if we don't buy their shitty F-35 planes. We're not. We're going to do a deal with Saab and Gripen for these Saab and Sweden for the Gripens, by the way. And not only that, he's threatened to smuggle booze into Canada. He's called us weak. He said the tariff war between the United States and Canada is our fault. So he's been, publicly turning the screws, working with these fucking loser far-right fake media outlets in Canada, which we have, folks. 80% of the people watching this right now are in the United States. And we have a couple of Breitbarts up here, specifically Rebel News, and a whole bunch of losers like this girl, Brittany Conservative. And he goes on her fucking thing all the time. And she's a dyed-in-the-wool absolute maple maggot. And so what I found out over the past 4 or 5 days, I did some digging, talked to some people that are involved in the pushback for Canada in Alberta, is not only is Alberta seething with Trump money, Trump operatives, and not only are they been incentivized, these maggots, maple maggots that are part of this separation movement, about 15% of the province, but the organizers from the Alberta Prosperity Project, the Alberta Republican Party, of course, that's fucking cool, and hardline religious lobby groups in Alberta are actively colluding with proxies that are attached to the U.S. ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. And how I found that out was these dollar amounts that I'm hearing are being shoveled into the coffers of the Alberta Prosperity Project and others. And I have, of course, informants in that part of the world. And they said, hold it, Dino, if you think, one gentleman who's in the know, I can't divulge sources, he said, if you think that the kind of money we're talking about and the operatives like Cam Davis that are on the ground operate in Canada, we're talking like 50, 60, $500 million loan promises. If you don't, and Jeffrey Rath's running around going, yeah, we have those conversations with the Americans. We just can't tell you who they are. If you think that happens in a vacuum without the fucking ambassador from the United States knowing, it doesn't. And what I found out is not only is he at arm's length, but he's actively encouraging and helping coordinate, the messaging and doing it through different proxies in the United States, which Jeffrey Rath, who is the leader of this stupid fucking separatist movement, by the way, he's a lawyer that lost his license for threatening to murder people, stealing money from his clients, that kind of shit. He's one of those guys. And he's also a drunk, like Pete Hoekstra as well.
Also,
they all share these common fucking values. Yeah. And it's out in the open now. And I put it out in a post. I would encourage everybody to go read it, because that is what is going on here in Canada. If you think Canada is not standing firm, or you think we're just standing firm for other people, no. There's going to be a very deliberate message delivered to Donald Trump and his proxies, because these ambassadors, like the one in Poland, which we'll get to, the fuckstick in Denmark, Ken Howery, that incel, sorry guys, I didn't mean to. Like, all of these people are just proxies that are there to run interference, or in some cases there to protect their investments in the countries of which they have been posted. So please go read that piece. Pete Hoekstra is a very fucking bad man.
So deanblundell.substack.com is where you find that story. It's fascinating to me that, we are now in this ideological war, and Canada and NATO need to step up their game against, or leftover NATO, whatever you want to call it, needs to step up their game in trying to fight the GOP inside America too. It's time for if they're going to do that here, and they're going to advocate for the breakup of Canada, then it's fair game that Canada advocates for the Democratic Party or whomever else they want to advocate for in the United States without politically interfering in their election process, which they shouldn't do. It's interesting as well. The Canadians opened an embassy or a consulate in Greenland, which is cute. Yeah.
Dude, I went there. I was there.
I know,
I
you were
walked
there
by the
just
consulate.
that's why I'm raising it with you, because you planted the flag before the flag was there.
Yes, we did. We left a few behind to be waved around at the ceremony today. My friend Orla Olsen, who's the head, basically he's the Greenlandic ambassador to the world on social media. And Canada established not just a consulate, but it's a fully staffed consulate. And you know what we also did is we flew in Inuit and Inuk people from across northern Canada that shared DNA, heritage, and culture with the Greenlandic people, because across the north, that land bridge that went to Greenland, they are all connected. It is the same culture,
So it
same
should be
DNA,
Canada.
same
Greenland should
people.
be Canada's, is what you're saying?
Well, originally it was settled by, Canadian Inuits, so effectively it should be Canadian, but it really belongs to the indigenous people. So we actually have a claim before Trump.
Yeah.
So we said a whole bunch of Inuit people got their own plane, they got a charter jet, and we're like, you go celebrate this opening with our brothers and sisters and indigenous brothers and sisters in Greenland. And it was beautiful watching them land. They got the Greenland flags. They got the Canadian flags. They're on board. They landed at Nuuk Airport. Very familiar to me. I was there a couple of times last week. All big smiles, freezing fucking cold. And they were so happy to go to Greenland to see their heritage and their culture and their people and to support them under the banner of indigenous rights, indigenous self-preservation, self-determination, and, of course, sovereignty, which was beautiful today. So yay, Canada, yet again.
That is a very nice thing that they did and a very smart thing that they did. A little softer than the Hoekstra thing, but, different styles, different approaches.
Hey, I just want to point this out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get Pete Hoekstra. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. And I've got some friends that I'm bringing with me. Can't say anything else. But we are going to launch a full-on, truth, fact-based Baird assault on Pete Hoekstra that he will not get away from. I can guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get him.
It needs to happen. You do it. You got my full support. I'll be there with you because
thank you.
I don't like that kind of thing. So the breaking news that I have today is about what the Trump regime is now doing in another attempt to cover up the Epstein files. Now, you're not going to be surprised that there's another attempt, but there is another attempt. And it sort of went unnoticed in the Ghislaine Maxwell filing that happened in December, that she claimed that 25 of the men involved or named in the Epstein files or related to the Epstein files crimes cut secret settlements with victims' lawyers, and that the government then helped conceal their identities in these files. So now when we look at the files these days, we're all wondering, how come there's no victim, there's only victims' names, and all the actual persecutors of these people, all these abusers aren't named, they've all been redacted. Well, the theory is that it comes out of this deal, these secret deals that have been somehow cut between the victims and the assailants, and then also the prosecutors have been somehow tied into it. They've obviously had to pay some money to get this done because it's a settlement. It's not a non-prosecution agreement. It's a settlement, and that means that perhaps a lot of billionaires have been able to buy their way out from appearing in these Epstein files. And it's kind of interesting that on Sunday, Ghislaine Maxwell is supposed to testify in front of the House committee that is investigating Epstein. And then the following Tuesday, Pam Bondi's testifying in the House. And the end of, is it the end of February? It's the end of February that the Ghislaine Maxwell then gets to hear whether the these deals were actually struck by the Department of Justice, which means she could get acquitted if she says the right things on Sunday, which obviously will be to absolve Donald Trump, plead the fifth, whatever it is she needs to do to get away without testifying. So I think that's the deal that's going on. You've got a deal where, she will do what she needs to do to get her pardon or get acquitted. On the other hand, there's all these deals that sort of force her acquittal with all these other accusers or accused men. I'm not really capturing that correctly, am I? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, let me see if I could summarize it.
Yeah,
Because
do a better job
I don't
than me.
have. Yeah. No, I don't know if I'll do a better job, but I'm just lazy, so I like to summarize things. What you're telling me, because this is, I did not read at length about this, so you're gonna have to forgive me. So what you're telling me is that the reason for all of the redactions of the perpetrators of sex crimes, pedophilia, sex trafficking, raping children, which, by the way, Elon Musk's name has been redacted from these files.
Yeah, interestingly.
So that draws an interesting
But maybe there was
comparison.
a settlement.
The reason why certain names are taken out is that you're alleging, due to evidence you have, facts, that secret deals were cut with many of the perpetrators of these sex crimes and pedophilia and raping children and young women for decades. These deals then come with a non-disclosure agreement. Therefore, their names cannot be featured in any of the drops when it comes to the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Is that what
That's what I'm
is that what
saying,
I'm to
but it's not
understand?
just what I'm saying. It's what Ghislaine Maxwell said in her filing in December when she filed an official filing in the court case saying she does not believe that she can have a fair trial because there have been these secret deals that have been struck with 25, or actually 29, but 25 men who are co-conspirators. And she says she would want to call these people up to testify, but she can't do that. Therefore, she should not be expected. She can't have a fair trial, and therefore she should be acquitted. So it's a deal. Obviously, it's been struck between Ghislaine, I think, and the White House, the DOJ, and the attorneys who are also representing the victims in this case. But it's very dodgy. I've never heard of anything like this. It's an incredible
Every
slide.
fucking time you turn around, there's another trap door that Maxwell, the Trump regime, Todd Blanche have cooked up to give them a fucking out.
Yeah.
Every single time. And one of the biggest issues from the 3.5 million documents that hit, the DOJ's fucking website the other day, which have been heavily redacted again and again and again. They disappear, they come back redacted, some disappear completely, then more show up, other names are redacted. So that, they're doing a fucking sloppy job. There's no way they've gone through it. But what it appears that they have taken great care to redact from these files are, if I'm not mistaken, from what I understand, is every single name in the Trump regime, every single name in the Broligarch Tech Advisory Board that he has, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, like those names are redacted when it comes to wrongdoing and being excited to go to the island, returning to the island, talking about Epstein's harem, talking about willingly trafficking these girls or making sure the harem shows up here. That's what Jeffrey Epstein wanted. That's what he wanted these people to refer to if you go through the Epstein files as a harem. So what you're saying is that, and I believe it because the victims are corroborating that with several statements saying, hey, my fucking entire name and likeness was in the Epstein files. It was supposed to be redacted, but you protected the guy that raped me when I was 15.
Yeah, there were 43 to 40 out of the 47 victims are named inside the Epstein files that were redacted or released, but only there were very few names that were not of the acute. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind today. There were very few assailants who weren't redacted. And what will be interesting is to match up the 25 names that are supposedly being that have had these secret deals cut. That Ghislaine Maxwell is alleging. It'll be interesting to see if those 25 names have been redacted from these files. That's how we'll know there's a deal there. We can also ask that of Pam Bondi when she appears before the House on Tuesday.
The trailer park lawyer that is now the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. You think she's gonna up and out herself? You think she's gonna tell the fucking truth?
Well,
you think any of these pricks will tell the truth? And here's the other thing: Ghislaine Maxwell is a fucking compulsive, pathological liar.
Oh yeah.
So if indeed this is true, and Ghislaine Maxwell said it, so who the fuck knows? But if this is true, my God, the lengths that they have gone to protect people who raped children for 3 decades, and it's still going on. And I want to make a statement here real quick, okay? Not only should every single one of those people be in jail, not only should every single one of those people not be afforded any kind of legal protections whatsoever, no matter how they contracted the hijinks to be able to keep their names out of it, no matter how much they paid these women, no matter how fucking much, no matter how much. There's no statute of limitations on this either, by the way, when it comes to murder and child rape. Yeah. None. Zero in the United States. Doesn't exist. I put out a comment today that called for the Canadian government to immediately launch an investigation into every single Canadian. There are several. We talked about 2 of them yesterday. Into every Canadian victim, because there are Canadian victims, and every Canadian perpetrator adjacent to or mentioned in the Epstein files. I watched Lithuania do it. I watched Poland do it. Donald Tusk said it yesterday. That started a row where, Tom Rose, the Polish ambassador, demanded that Poland sign on to fucking do a Nobel Peace Prize letter, and they said, go fuck yourself. That's now led to this massive international geopolitical argument between, the United States and Poland, where Tom Rose is saying, how about we just pull our troops and equipment out of Poland? Like, it's just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But they're going to
Britain
launch an
as well.
investigation.
Britain is
Launching an investigation. France has an investigation into this as well. And not only should Canada start an investigation, they should literally turn this into an international criminal investigation. They should be getting together with the Four Eyes, fuck the Fifth Eye, the Four Eyes that they're involved with, and they should be immediately opening up a file to cross-reference and check every piece of information. And they should be going to the doors of these people, like Peter Attia, like the Canadian billionaire business mogul, anybody who was named in Canada in that file, and they should be working with everybody in a transparent way to put all the fucking pressure on Donald Trump at this point. That's what Canada needs to do. And I will say one more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing. And I mean this, I'm going to do a piece about it today. If you support Donald Trump, if you're Jamil Javani from Canada who decided to go meet with J.D. Vance, his best friend, and do some bullshit tariff negotiation this weekend, he's a conservative, Maple MAGA conservative. If you haven't spoken out and you're a Maple MAGA conservative, if you are in the employ of this Trump White House, if you do business with anybody associated with Donald Trump and the Trump regime, you are cool with pedophilia.
Yeah.
You are also persona non fucking grata, and you should be. And that applies to every single person that I know that is a Trump fan that would vote for him. I don't care who you are in Canada. I don't care where you're from. I don't care if I've been your friend for 20 years. I am scrapping those relationships. And we as a country need to scrap those alliances with any country that has anything to do with supporting the Trump regime, because what you're doing is you're supporting pedophilia, you're supporting unchecked pedophilia, you're promoting pedophilia, you're okay with pedophilia and the sexual assault of thousands of young girls. And here's the catch. I haven't talked about the 31 different women that he sexually assaulted and raped. I haven't talked about the fact that he's an adjudicated rapist. Where the fuck have we been as a society? Just because he's the fucking president. Why are we just fucking sitting here as sovereign nations whose citizens have not only been affected as victims of sex trafficking, but now we're being told that it's okay and it's normal and we should normalize sex with 16-year-olds and 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds, and it was a different time and all that other shit. I will be very, very terse with our government, and everybody in Canada should be, if we do not get on board with launching an international criminal investigation into fucking everybody and putting this at the door publicly of the United States of America and the Trump regime, and anybody that doesn't speak out about this, including every Canadian fucking politician that tries to stay away from this because they don't want to upset their daddies in the United States. Your daddies are fucking pedophiles. Mm. They're rapists and they're fucking murderers. And I'm not okay with it. And we as a country shouldn't be okay with it. And kudos to France and England and Poland and Lithuania. Estonia is getting into this as well. Ukraine is launching an investigation. Canada needs to help lead that investigation with full transparency. And I'm challenging not my government. I'm challenging everybody out there that's like hanging on to a relationship with anybody who's like, I'd vote for Trump again. Really, that means you love pedophilia. That means you're okay with children getting raped and murdered. And that means you're co-signing all of it. Every time you go, I'm going to do business with that Trump brand. I'm going to do business with fucking Gates. I'm going to buy fucking Windows. I'm going to buy Tim Cook's phones. It's fucking time. It's fucking time that we take this seriously. And if you don't take it seriously, and if you're one of those people in my life or any life around me, you are done. At some point, people saying they're sickened by this have to draw a fucking hard line with serious integrity for these victims.
Absolutely.
Serious integrity.
So well said, Dean. Thank you for saying that. It is so important because what's happening in our society right now is we're allowing murder and rape of children, and it's inexcusable. We have all these names of these people who over the last 20 or 30 years have been raping young girls in the most vicious ways. I mean, some of the ways described in these FBI files are really horrific. And they've been doing it repeatedly. And these victims have described having no way out, feeling like they're being completely captive. No one will listen to them. No one will talk to them. No one would have helped them throughout the entire 30 years that this thing has been going on for. It's obnoxious and ridiculous that our society is letting that happen and that we're just all sitting by. The Department of Justice has evidence now of several people, 25 or more, who have committed crimes against young children, and they are letting them go. They're not prosecuting them. There's plenty of evidence, including evidence against the American president right now, that he was involved in sex parties with underage girls, that he may have raped underage girls, that there may have been deaths at those parties, and that they may be buried on his golf course. And we're going to say that's okay? We're not going to investigate that? That is inexcusable. And just popping up now, just in the UK, just as an example of what they could be doing, is this story that just showed up, is that the police are searching Mandelson's home. Properties in London and Wiltshire were raided as part of the investigation into the peer's alleged misconduct in office. So part of it has to do with the Epstein investigation. Lord Mandelson.
Now, Mandelson is the former ambassador from the UK to the United States, and that was requested by the Trump regime. Remember, he surrounds himself with people that have more to lose than him to run interference. Sorry, continue.
Absolutely. So now Scotland Yard has launched the investigation after emails released in the US showed that the peer leaked sensitive government documents to Jeffrey Epstein. And some people say he wasn't a spy. Of course he was a spy. 2 addresses, one near Regent's Park in Camden in North London and one in Wiltshire, were being examined on Friday as part of the investigation. So this is happening in real time, where Mandelson is currently under investigation. He could lose his peerage, but he could also go to jail because of his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Meanwhile, it's emerged that there's been in Andrew's household that Epstein had a mole in Epstein's royal household, whose office was actually in Buckingham Palace. And this guy's no longer there. But anytime that Epstein needed to know what was going on inside the palace, he'd have someone there to talk to or someone there to send messages to. And we know that because that someone had dates set up by Epstein with all these young women when they showed up in London.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know if you saw some of the pictures in the last dump of Randy Andy, who's now moved out of Windsor Lodge. He has no one knows where he's living because of these pictures of Andy Randy literally on the floor over top of a passed out young girl.
Yeah, it's awful.
3 pictures, him laughing.
Yeah, awful.
Him laughing.
What's interesting to me, and this is a topic that no one wants to raise, is King Charles was also very interested in younger women. Throughout his, when he was certainly looking for a wife in Princess Diana. Remember how young everyone said she was and how that was his thing. And we haven't gone there yet, but it begs the question. Andrew and Charles are pretty close. I don't think anyone wants to go there because it's tricky as anything to talk about, but there you go.
Well, let me just say this. That royal family has a litany of pedophiles in its fucking family tree, right? Like a litany. It's like Prince Philip's dad.
That
Mountbatten. Guy,
Mountbatten.
Yeah, Lord Mountbatten. He was the pedophile, right?
Yeah, he ran a whole.
Chances are, Prince, the fucking fruit doesn't fall far from the tree.
No, and I think it probably occurs quite a lot in those older families. It's not a surprise. In families that have been around for a long time, that kind of stuff used to happen a lot. That's how they used to protect a lot of their lineage, is by marrying inside their families, or and also having sex with underage people in their families, because that's how they kept a pure bloodline to some extent. So it's it's not that surprising to see it. It's just surprising to see it in this day and age. The number 4 story on the countdown is all about Iran. There's everywhere you turn, it's the same people. So the United States and Iran sat down in Oman today for their first talks since Trump ordered strikes on Iranian nuclear sites in June. So Iran's Foreign Minister Araghchi, I don't know how you say it, called it a good start, but said discussions were exclusively nuclear, refusing to discuss missiles or proxy forces. The U.S. delegation was led by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, of course, because they're going to be everywhere, with Admiral Brad Cooper from Central Command also there. Senior administration officials told reporters they don't have a clear guidance on what Trump actually wants from these talks, but he keeps amassing all these military forces in the Middle East. It looks like war could be in the offing, especially if they don't come up with some sort of agreement. But to me, it's just stunning that Jared Kushner, with his own ties to Epstein through Apollo Group and a whole bunch of other things, is leading negotiations on behalf of Trump, the Trump regime, and he's also really close to Russia. He's just very, very close to Vladimir Putin and Russia, as is Steve Witkoff, who's basically was installed inside the White House by Vladimir Putin.
Yep. Steve Witkoff has done business with Putin and his oligarchs for 30 years. Mm-hmm. He has rinsed billions of dollars into U.S. real estate, and he was handpicked by Putin to be Trump's guy. So he gets sent to every single negotiation, and he doesn't get sent to negotiate peace or an armistice or, a drawdown of nuclear capability in Iran. He gets sent there to carve shit up with Jared Kushner, mm-hmm. which is what Jared Kushner does. They go to Iran, and they sit down, and they have a conversation about what they can enrich Trump and the Trump crime family and some certain proxies around him with to incentivize them to do things like not bomb the fuck out of Tehran.
Yeah.
Right? That's what's going on in those meetings, according to people I spoke with yesterday, who said, hey, listen, this is no different than what goes on in these meetings with Ukraine, these meetings with Russia, meetings with Syria, meetings with other countries like Gaza, and the leaders of Gaza or the Palestinian organizations that are he's trying to negotiate, literally getting everybody out so they can turn it into the fucking Mediterranean and Trump. This is a real estate and natural gas / oil play. Iran is loaded with energy, loaded.
Oil, just plain old oil. They have huge
loaded
resources in oil, and that's what this administration wants. Let's be
and that's
clear
all this is about.
Yeah.
That's all this is about. The whole thing is about oil. The whole thing is about energy. Excuse me, my dog is losing its mind.
No worries.
Hey, enough. Thanks.
It happens.
So
it happens. Dogs,
she doesn't. She never listens.
They don't know when it's airtime. They don't know when it's Fivestack time. I'm trying to fix my camera.
Yeah. Hang on one second. Hang on.
Okay. Go do that if you need to. I can.
No. She's gonna chill out in a minute when the.
Okay. While Dean deals with, is it Pepper?
No, it's good. Yeah, Pepper. Yeah, she's losing her mind. It's what happens when people walk by. Every time someone walks by, and I live on a dead end.
Protecting you. That's good. I like it.
Yeah, well, she's too small to protect anybody. Plus, if someone came in, she'd run behind me. She's not a guard dog. She's one of those dogs. But that's what's going on in Iran. And make no mistake about it. He doesn't give a fuck what kind of capability Iran has. He's empowering Iran. He's working with Iran's partners. As a matter of fact, he's encouraging people to buy gas from Iran, like China. Now China can go buy gas and oil from Iran. Go ahead and do it. This is like 2 months ago after he allegedly obliterated everything in Iran. So if they're having nuclear conversations, and that's the other part of this, ladies and gentlemen, if they're having conversations that are strictly nuclear, I don't know if you remember this about 5 months ago when Trump totally obliterated the nuclear facilities in Iran. Total obliteration.
He finished it all.
Nothing
right?
else. Yeah. So why is he fucking having these meetings if he total obliteration, nothing left? The left-wing lunatics want to say I didn't obliterate, but I obliterated, and no one does obliteration like me. Obliteration. That's what's up. So why is he there having a conversation about something he obliterated? I thought it was gone.
It's a really good question. And of course, it's all about the oil. There's no doubt about it. He was talking about what a huge oil supply Iran has and how they would be dominating the world's oil supply if they had Iran's oil. So that's what they're trying to get out of it. How they pull that off, I don't know. But the Russians are obviously at the table through Witkoff and Kushner, so there might be a deal in the offing. The number 3 story.
And a quick note. I don't know if you saw this. The United States announced they were going to level up their relationship, their U.S. military relationship with the Russian military yesterday. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
They
I saw that.
on reestablishing those relationships. And to your point, Russia, including Kirill Dmitriev, is at that table. And then they're going back to Miami to talk about how we can get our armies to work together so we can fucking kill people. That's what they're doing.
Absolutely. That was a real surprise to see that happening. And sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was a real surprise to see that happening. I mean, it's not that they shouldn't have contact. They should have contact. Of course, every military should have contact with each other. But the kind of coordination they're talking about is very is very friendly cooperation. And, there's nothing that we have in common with the Russian foreign policy or military policy. We are completely opposed to them. So what are we doing with them together? It just makes...
Well, and the interesting part is they've announced they might consider doing joint exercises.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the
Greenland, probably.
Arctic exercises in probably
Yeah.
the Arctic exercises in Greenland, all the allies, the NATO allies, with the exception of the United States, are there. I had Jacob Carswell on today. He filled us in. Yeah, they're there. They're preparing. And the fucking funny part is they keep inviting the Americans, and the Americans are like, we have no desire to do any of those Arctic exercises.
I thought they were so
they're
concerned about
announcing
Arctic security that it was fundamental to the
so
future.
Yeah, so did we. Again, can't make a lot of sense of it because it doesn't make any sense because the intention has nothing to do with doing exercise with the allies. That fuck the allies. They're going to join with Russia and threaten every other world power. That's what the goal is.
You know what does make a lot of sense, if you want to make sense of this whole story of everything that's happening in the world right now, is that Jeffrey Epstein was very tied in with the Russians. Very, very tied in with the Russians. And that means that Donald Trump, as his best friend, was also allied to a Russian asset. And the thing that I reported on the other day that maybe people didn't get as much attention on was that the ambassador Churkin, who was the contact that Epstein spoke about in some of his emails. You remember he talked about about giving information to the Russians and that he was complaining after Churkin's death. Churkin died mysteriously
that he didn't have a channel to Putin, and Churkin totally got it, but he needs another Churkin.
You know who else was really close to Churkin for many, many years? Donald Trump. In fact, Churkin was one of the diplomats who first recruited Donald Trump to the KGB. So in that first meeting and that led to the big trip to Russia in 1987, it was Churkin and that other ambassador. Churkin was number 2 in the UN ambassador. I can't remember his name. But that is when he became a KGB agent. That's how he became a KGB agent. Suggesting perhaps that this ambassador may have been not just your typical ambassador, but may have been a spy master in the United States and may have been running various spy rings in the United States, which may or may not have included Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, seeing how he had regular contact with both of those things. So
that was confirmed by several intelligence agencies as well, that Churkin was indeed running a huge portion of the financial aspects of some of the criminal enterprise that the Russian government was enacting in the United States, working with Jeffrey Epstein, and who got bailed out several times by Russians in that exact same time frame after declaring bankruptcy 4 times? Donald John Trump.
Every single time.
Isn't that weird?
And you know what, going back to 2008, I'm still writing chapter 9 of Greatest Heist, which just is never ending, it seems. There was 2 payoffs right after the 2008 crash, $50 million each. One went to Jeffrey Epstein, the other one went to Donald Trump. No one knows why or how. It all came from Russia, but there it was, right after the 2008 crash. I'll explain all the details in the next Greatest Heist, but that story is obviously not completely told yet and has a lot more room to grow. This is the number 3 story in the countdown today. A federal judge in Chicago ruled today that the public will see the body camera footage and text messages from the Border Patrol agent who shot Marimar Martinez 5 times in October. Agent Charles Exum shot Martinez, a 30-year-old teacher's assistant and a U.S. citizen, 5 times during an immigration operation in Chicago's southwest side. After the shooting, Exum texted colleagues, "I fired 5 rounds and she had 7 holes. Put that in your book, boys." The government argues releasing the text would sully Agent Exum, and the judge said that the administration showed zero concern about sullying Mr. Martinez's reputation.
Yeah. Good. What's good for the goose, right? Don't sully the reputation. Don't dox us. They sully and dox all the time, threaten. They fucking shoot people for no reason. They execute people by shooting them in the back of the head 10 times. Good for the judge. Judge Luttig, I don't know if you follow him. He's kind of the judicial soul of America right now, and you should follow him here on
conservative
Substack,
judge.
You get a chance.
Very conservative
Very
judge.
much so. Very much so. Said, and I take a lot of hope out of some of the stuff he says, but I also sometimes he gets me down where he's like, "It's gonna take 100 years to get over it." And I'm like, "Holy shit!" But he said, something is happening with the judiciary where they're not just growing a spine, but they're applying the law fearlessly now. and in Chicago with this ruling, and we're going to get one out of Minnesota too. When it comes to the fact that Alex Pretty's execution, Nicole Renee Good's execution were ruled homicides. They were ruled homicides.
Yeah.
And judges in both of those cases plan on putting out extenuous information. And now we're hearing stories about not just them not having immunity, as J.D. Vance said, the complete immunity, but we're hearing whispers and rumors of, attorneys general that might or might not be serving at Trump's pleasure at the moment in both of these states, saying we're going to bring fucking murder charges. We're going to bring charges not just against the people that executed these individuals and shot this woman in Chicago. We're going to bring charges against everybody involved in that shooting from the top to the fucking bottom. And this is the kind of hope that every American needs right now.
That is so good. It's so good. I mean, the one wrinkle in this case in Chicago is that there may not have been body cam footage on the guy who did the shooting, maybe from others, but that might be the one wrinkle that happens there. But now they're all supposed to be wearing body cams, which is good. And what you're saying about what happened in Minneapolis is absolutely crucial. There is no immunity. No one has immunity in the United States of America. No one is above the law, including the president of the United States. So the president can't grant immunity to anybody. It doesn't exist. Murder charges should be brought against them. It's interesting that the FBI has launched an investigation now with the Minnesota Correctional, whatever organization they have there, to investigate the Preddy murder as a joint investigation. So that's news today, and really important that that's happening. And the number 2 story on the countdown is... You must have seen this. I wanted to talk about it, but then I was like, I don't want to talk about it. But then I was you gotta talk about it. Late last night, President Trump posted a video on Truth Social depicting Barack and Michelle Obama as apes in a jungle, set to the tune
of the.
I don't, and I don't want to play it. I thought about it, but I was like, should I get it? I can get it, but it's like,
you should probably get it because it's not just racist. It's now been deleted, by the way.
Yeah, it's not on Truth Social.
But everybody's already taken it. Yeah. He deleted it. He's now blaming someone else for him posting that.
What?
He's blaming the person that created it. I didn't do it. I don't know. Someone else did it. He's throwing someone else under the bus, which is classic fucking Trump. Like he's throwing
have control of
Tulsi
his account?
Gabbard under the bus for Fulton County and the Smartmatic bullshit in Puerto Rico. Like he's throwing Pam Bondi under the bus. He always has plausible deniability. Everything's always at arm's length.
Yeah.
But they all appear on his personal fucking feed. Mm-hmm. And then they all get retweeted to millions of other people, retruth to millions of other, or sorry, it's Truth Social, hundreds of other people. And then it gets put out into Facebook where there's 5.5 billion people. Like it's just, it goes and goes and goes. And the video itself shows a graph, some kind of financial graph, and then it goes to a video of 2 seemingly monkeys or gorillas, but photoshopped on their faces are Barack Obama on one primate, and on the other one is Michelle Obama, which is, he's calling them monkeys.
Yeah.
It's highly, highly, highly fucking racist and highly, 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 highly offensive.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Obama respond to it, haven't seen Michelle Obama respond to it, but of all the bullshit that I've seen this guy put out, the based, fucking racist, maniacally fucking fascist, evil, disgusting things this guy's tweeted, this guy's truthed, this video topped them all.
Yeah.
It topped them all. And I go back to character all the time. You have America, listen to me. You have a pedophile, adjudicated rapist, 34-time felon, stealing from you, tariffing you, destroying your health care, stealing your land, beating the shit out of you in the streets in front of your fucking home, kidnapping your fucking neighbors, executing Americans in the fucking streets, putting out a tweet on Truth Social, calling the Obamas monkeys.
I mean, It is what it is.
Is there anything else? Is there anything worse? There's nothing worse. Everything here we're talking about is the kind of shit that if anybody said or did one of the things or espoused one of the issues that I'm talking about prior to Donald Trump, he would be hung, drawn, and quartered and fucking removed from office. I just named 10 things.
It's not a surprise that he's racist. And it's not really a surprise that someone else might be feeding his account with all these memes and stuff. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that what he's really doing is just gaslighting us into these conversations. Because in reality, what he wants us is to not focus on the Epstein files. He wants us to talk about everything else other than the Epstein files. And if that means he has to put out a video of, Barack and Michelle Obama superimposed over apes, he will do it no matter what it takes. He wants you not to focus on the Epstein files. And my hope is that, and I think the media is beginning to realize this, every time they try to gaslight us, every time they try to divert our attention with whatever it is, whether it's these memes or whether it's kidnappings or whether it's a war in Iran, which all are on the cards right now, we need to double down on covering Epstein. Dig deeper and show even more of what's going on in the Epstein files. And even if they try to do this cover up, even if they try say that these names were legally redacted because of some secret deals that were struck, screw them. We can still investigate the entire Epstein files completely. And no one should be giving up. In fact, we should be increasing our efforts because clearly this is the thing that bugs him the most in the world. This is his number one threat and his number one fear is that everything is exposed about what he did with Jeffrey Epstein. And that's why
it's not even but it's not even the sex crimes. It's not even the financial crimes. It's, according to people that I've talked to that are worried that share Trump's concern, is that he will be born out as an illegitimate president with the help of Russia. He will be born out as anti-American. He will be tied to 40 years of usurping democracy and fucking the American people. That's his biggest concern. That should tell you all you need to know about how fucking derelict this man is. He's got the fucking the values of a serial killer. Like he just does. He has the values of a serial killer when his concern isn't the victims. His concern isn't justice. His concern isn't stopping pedophilia. His concern is that people will think less of him. But here's the catch. The reason why he put that Obama thing out, I go back to Joseph Goebbels, who said one thing that was very interesting. And if you know anything about the rise of the Nazi movement and the propaganda of the Nazi movement, I'll go back to the depiction of Jews in propaganda videos, fat, big noses, money, pockets stuffed with like gold and shit like that. The people of Germany, when they saw these posters go up, were disgusted by them. Like we were disgusted by the Trump thing. But Trump understands one thing that Goebbels said, and he said it all the time. It doesn't matter how negative it is. It matters that they're talking about it.
Right.
It matters that they're talking about us. So if you think that I can't believe he deleted it, first of all. If you think that this is going to stop, it won't. It is going to pick up. Because all Trump wants to do, to your point, is for you to talk about him and this and not talk about the Epstein files.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what he wants.
This is what the game has been all along. He's good at capturing attention or diverting attention, and this is what his intention is, to keep doing it. But it's not going to work this time. I just don't see it working. And the truth of it is, this group of, if you go to the trouble of making deals with 25 billionaires, which must have been pretty expensive, subverting the laws they've done to cover up what went on. How serious is the crime? I mean, this is such a huge cover-up. For this cover-up to match the crime, this is the biggest crime ever in the world's history. And it's clear that Donald Trump had something, if not ran it, he had something to do with it. And that's to me, that's very telling. I know we don't have much time, but I wanted to show you something. Maybe if I can get it up here.
You want to show me?
I want to show you.
You keeping your pants on for this, by the way?
Yeah, of course. I always keep my pants on for these things.
Just know what you're going to show me.
This is from the Epstein files, and I clipped it the other day, and I thought I got to use this somewhere. I haven't used it, but I'm going to use it here. And he's getting advice from somebody in the know about what's going on with the first Trump administration. And he says, someone telling him this, I think they will take steps to have a bubble collapse. They need bankruptcy to clean the overhead system and frighten people into slowing speculation. There is no alternative to keep cash but real estate. No top echelon biz guy can either make new investments in states, and if they want to get money outside, the discount has risen from 10 to 40%.
Discount has risen from 10 to 40%. Yeah, wow. Yeah.
So this is the scheme. The scheme is to declare bankruptcy. The scheme is to absolutely ruin the American economy, because guess what? Donald Trump is really good at declaring bankruptcy. He's done it so many times. He knows exactly how to do it. And this is just a recurring thing that I keep seeing over and over again. This is impossible to read, but it's the continuation of that conversation. And it's just very telling to me that this is where we're at. We're at, the bankrupting of America by Donald Trump, as engineered by Jeffrey Epstein many years ago, is actually what's going on here. And this is some proof. It's not the proof, but it's some proof that this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it all comes back to money. It always does.
All of it.
Right? All of it, yeah.
Number one, this is the story of the day. The Trump administration told Chuck Schumer they would release frozen funding for the Gateway Rail Tunnel. This is important for the tri-state area. The biggest infrastructure project in the country. It's $16 billion worth, connecting New York and New Jersey under the Hudson River. If he agrees to renaming Penn Station and Washington Dulles Airport after Donald Trump. Schumer is pointing out that, of course, it's not up to him, but it's fascinating that they're pushing him. And again, maybe more gaslighting. But this is the
fucking
dictator.
Loser.
What a loser.
What a fucking loser. I'll give you money for infrastructure if you put my name on 2 buildings.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'll shut down the structure because no one wants to go there, like he did with the Kennedy Center. It's like, which, by the way, why are they shutting down the Kennedy Center? It's a beautiful center.
Because no one's going.
I know, but what are they doing with the $295 million that they're investing in renovating it? They just renovated it 2 years ago, apparently.
They're going to fucking etch his name in it everywhere. They're going to turn it into a fucking effigy to Donald Trump. Yeah. They're like, literally, they're stealing it. You know that? Yeah, like, that's what he's fucking doing with the ballroom. He's turning it into his fucking home. It's like that he is making sure that it'll be next to impossible to remove his name and likeness and fucking himself if he's still alive.
Yeah.
From office, from the memories of Americans. If you go to France and, there's a reason he's building the Arc de Triomphe or the Triumph Arc or whatever the Freedom Arc, whatever he wants to call it.
250 meters, by the way. That's hot.
Yeah, it's huge. I was at the Arc de Triomphe in Paris this summer.
Yeah.
Never been before. And I love history, so when I went, I'm like, I need to know more about the Arc de Triomphe. We were staying literally a few doors away from it, and I could see it from my hotel. And I love history. Mm-hmm. Napoleon built that shit, right?
Yeah.
And his name's all over it. He built it it was an honor to himself, and it took years to build. And the French people, continue to add to it after he died. But effectively, if you go to the Arc de Triomphe, it stands there as a monument that Napoleon wanted to build to himself. This is a very Napoleonic thing he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No, he knows what he's doing.
It is an incredible fucking... And here's the thing. It's not even original. Like he's just choosing to... I'll just do what Napoleon did. I'm going to build this massive thing. And it'll be so hard for people to be able to erase and that was Napoleon's extended goal. As he was the emperor, he wasn't the king. He kind of took over French culture, the French country. He was fucking the dictator of France for a very long time. He and Robespierre ran a fucking train against, capitalists, but they themselves were fascists and they were themselves were dictators, as you all know. And so he knew the end was coming. Like if you read about Napoleon, you understand he only ever said one thing that I was like, yeah, fuck, that's right. He's like, the religion exists so the poor don't fucking murder the rich. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good one. Napoleon was right about that. But he knew he was on borrowed time. He knew that the establishment would come back and get him. And so what did he do? He went around slapping his name on fucking everything, building monuments to himself, he built his own mausoleum. He built the Arc de Triomphe. Literally, it's what he did. What did Hitler do? Same fucking thing when he took over. What did fucking Putin do? Same thing. What does Kim Jong-un do? He's got fucking 200-foot statue of himself and his dad and his grandfather literally in front of... That's what these people do. But Donald Trump is doing this for two reasons. One, he's a dictator. And the other one is he knows this ain't going to last. And so he's trying to indelibly tattoo Trumpism on buildings by changing their names, changing the structure, renovating them. He's fucking doing it to the White House, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
That's who Donald Trump is.
Well, because, at the root of it all is tribalism. They think that they can replace globalization and individuality with tribalism. And tribalism requires monuments. It requires leaders. It requires these kinds of, symbols of belonging, which they are doing. But how small a human being are you if you are raping girls, violently attacking girls, with a well-known pedophile in group sex situations, that you can't, this is your power thrill, however you're gaining your power. And then, years later, as you become the most powerful man in the world, it's still not enough for you. You still have to slap your name on every single building you can and build monuments to yourself because you are just so tiny, so completely useless and tiny, and you know it, and you're just been fooling the world all along. I mean, that to me is just all of this, performative stuff that he's doing just tells you what a small human being Donald Trump really is.
Let me give everybody some hope based on that weakness, and you're 100% correct. You know anything about Nero, Roman Emperor Nero?
A little bit, but probably not as much as you.
Nero's a cock, just like Donald Trump. He was a self-serving piece of shit. He just was. And I love Stoic history. I love Roman history because you can learn from those. You want to learn about now, talk to the dead. So learn about Roman history, learn about Nero. Nero loved himself more than anybody. Nero had a massive, 165 foot back in the day, bronze statue next to the Colosseum, built of just himself. Massive package, super cut, way better looking than he was in real life. Like, that's what he did, right? And Nero's end came when everybody turned on him, and he had to flee the city, and he was hiding in a barn. And he ended up killing himself or being killed by someone who was like, that's Nero. Details of his death are sketchy. But, in his late 20s, early 30s, he was finished. And you know what happened to Nero? Nero's body, when it was all over, when the citizens of Rome finally had enough, the senators of Rome finally had enough. You know what happened to him? He got buried right next to his donkey in a box that was 6 feet long by 3 feet wide, next to the donkey in the ground. Donald Trump is going to be buried with the donkeys when this is over. Donald Trump is going to exist in a probably fatter fucking coffin than most. He will be in the ground and he will be dead. He will be pushing up daisies. There will be no mausoleum for Donald Trump. His name will come off of everything, like Nero's statue was ripped down and turned into building material to support the Roman Empire. And Nero is a skid mark, like Hitler is a skid mark in the annals of dictatorial history.
Yeah.
He is. And Donald Trump will be that skid mark. So there's the hope. Study Nero. Look at everything that he did for himself to force people to give him power, to force people to say, hey, listen, just because of your blood right, that means that we have to do everything for you. You can kill us at a moment's notice, and you can take all of our riches. You can treat us like shit, and we have to worship at this fucking statue in front of the Colosseum. That's what the Arc de Triomphe is. That's what these buildings are. That's his desire to have Penn State, or the Penn Station. It is a foregone conclusion that every single person, no matter who they are, ends up dead in the ground or in an incinerator, and they occupy maybe a little jar, maybe some space in the dirt. But Donald Trump will be buried with the fucking donkeys, and we will strip his name from every single building that he is forcing his name on, and we will tear down whatever he builds where the East Wing was, and we will prevent or tear down the building of this Arc de Triomphe, and he will not receive what he desperately wants, which is to control his legacy. The one thing I know to be true, and should be encouraging for everybody, in life or death, the one thing you do not control ever is your reputation. And when he's gone and the trials start and people start going to jail or swinging for treason and selling out the United States to Vladimir Putin, selling out the death and the rape of thousands of young girls and women, he will be like Voldemort, the name we do not speak. And
Yeah.
that should be encouraging for everybody today.
That is really well said. As you were saying that, I just thought the thing that is that the most appealing monument that America has always had is the people and its values. What people love about America is the things that we used to celebrate, not these kind of faux strength that Donald Trump talks about. We talk about equality and justice and freedom and the ability to pursue your dreams and your individuality. That is the beauty of Americans. And when Americans are purpose-filled and when they are, when they push for those values, they are at their best. And there are many, many people out there who are doing that right now against Donald Trump. And they're not getting celebrated because they're not being allowed to be celebrated. But we see you. We know you're doing it. We know that the majority of America is doing it right now.
We're with you and we are you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can feel it and we can see it and we know that it's happening. So for those of you who feel dejected by all of this or feel that you're somehow not being heard or seen, that's by design. They're trying to make you feel not heard or seen. But we see you, we hear you, and everybody else feels you. So keep up the good fight. We're only just getting started here, but we are going to defeat this great nightmare that has come to America in the form of Donald Trump. And that is the Fivestack for today. Dean Blundell, what's in your amazing Substack? I want to hear more about what's in yours on your site.
Yeah, you can go and check out the latest entry into people that need to be hung, drawn, and quartered when this whole thing is over, including 3 ambassadors.
Do you have a working
Pete
list?
Hoekstra that we
You need a working
list.
list.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm going to get that guy. I'm going to get him. Pete Hoekstra, the Canadian ambassador, Ken Howry, the Danish ambassador, he's in the Epstein files, and the Polish ambassador, the American ambassador to Poland, Tom Rose. All MAGA operatives. All 3 of them are now really angry at their countries of origin where they serve on behalf of the president because everybody's going full Carney. So I would encourage everybody to go full Canada. Doesn't matter who you are. Carney has given people, and I've got a piece up there where you can literally read it and share it with your country that is not serving the interests of democracy. Share this with as many people as possible. And then again, the complete write-up on how the U.S. ambassador is fully involved in running interference and fully on side with what's going on with the separation of Alberta from Canada. That is
You're doing
huge
a great job
story.
of that. I'm so glad you're
Thank
focused
you.
on that.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, is it?
Thank you. No, it won't happen. And Pete Hoekstra is going to get removed here very soon. Pete Hoekstra, yeah. So please go and check that out.
And his exit. We'll do a live show.
I've got something planned for Pete Hoekstra. Not many people are aware of. I'm going to be seeing Mr. Hoekstra very soon on behalf of this country.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to make sure Pete Hoekstra knows exactly who we are. But that's coming, so be prepared for that. And more importantly, anybody and everybody that's subscribed to deanblundell.substack.com, I can't thank you enough. And we've got some specials up there, 30% off for the month of February for annual subscriptions. I think $8 a month. Founding memberships. Love those as always. But more you get if you buy a founding membership, specifically in the month of February, you never pay again ever. You just pay one time, which is awesome for you, awesome for me, awesome for everybody. But I cannot thank everybody enough for their support, their time, and spending time with us. Hit those hearts, hammer that little box with the square. Share this with anybody that you think needs to be informed about what's really going on around them, what's happening in their country, and the hope around, hopefully, the impending doom around Donald Trump, which, if the Epstein files continue to be the Epstein files and we sort of all collectively get behind them, not just as democracy lovers, but as governments of free countries like we're seeing now, I think we've got a different story on our hands when it comes to the influence of Trumpism around the world. So please do so. Greatest Heist series, everybody, the financial crimes that are involved in this. Zev is working on yet another piece, narrative.org. Go and get your subscription. What can we tell you about the latest and when can it come out?
I'm still working on it. It's been a busy week, but I've got some really interesting stuff that is coming out on the new Epstein files that is going to blow your mind away. We've got some new evidence of Donald Trump's involvement with some of the victims that is going to stun you, to be quite honest. It's quite shocking how graphic it is. That's not been revealed by anyone yet. Plus, we have another investigation we're doing, which was trying to really piece together the entire network. We have this massive connections chart or network charts that I'm trying to put together every name I could find on one big chart and seeing how they connect. It's remarkably sized, but it really helps you see who the different groups are. That he was really working with these groups the royal groups in Scandinavian countries in particular. Then we had the politicians, which was such a big part of it, and then it just goes on to the media, the influence groups, and a huge amount of science stuff. This guy was really plundering all our science knowledge for what we think is espionage purposes, and that's all while he was still doing the child raping and abusing that he was doing. So there's a lot more we still to be revealed about that. And also lots of speculation today. I don't know if you've seen it. Is he actually alive? Is he alive in Israel? There's all these rumors. Did he actually die that night? Where's the death certificate? There's all sorts of different stories out there. I'm looking into those, and we hopefully will bring you something a little bit more definitive by next week.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget you can get the Fivestack on Spotify. You can also get it on Apple. I believe you can also get it on YouTube, my YouTube channel, which I never check ever. I don't think I've even been on it in a year, so maybe whatever. If it's there, you can go check it out.
I think so. You should be able to get it. Yeah, it should be on all these channels. We actually have a lot of, probably more followers and viewers on YouTube than we do on Substack.
Oh, hi.
Hi, everybody. And we love you too. But you should subscribe to us on Substack, because both of us do our stuff on Substack more than anything else. And while we love you on YouTube, we're not getting it to be as interactive and close to you when we're doing the show on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, come on over. It's nice here on Substack.
Yeah, do it. Thanks, dude. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Bye-bye.